Hey y'all from Tennessee. By gum, don't you love it when folks pronounce it Tennessee? Boy, it makes me feel right at home. No, I'm right where I ought to be. Yeah, right here in Tennessee. Welcome to the State and Beale podcast. This is the place where we celebrate Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee. The volunteer state, the Big Bend state, the hog and hominy state. On this show, we love Tennessee from State Street in Bristol to Beale Street in Memphis, with apologies to Mountain City. So you get it, you see State and Beale. Yeah, you got it. I told the same joke last week, and I'm probably going to keep telling that joke until, it becomes a thing. My name is Toby Sells. I've called Tennessee home my whole life. I've been a newspaper reporter in this great state ever since I was a teenager. And yes, Megan, that was a long time ago. That's my sister, and Anyhow, I have had a front row seat to Tennessee all those years, and I am still fascinated. This show is about Tennessee culture, what it means to be a Tennessean, and how we live our lives. So it's a lifestyle show. We'll talk about people and places, food, the outdoors, crafts, home and garden, fashion, events, and anything that makes Tennessee, Tennessee. Now, however, we will not talk about politics, religion, or money, and that's only because Mama raised us right. Thanks, Mom. All right, now that's what this show is about, and if you like that, you have found the right place. I hope State and Beale makes you love to live in Tennessee, or if you don't live here, it makes you long to be in Tennessee. All right, I do have a website. There's going to be more stuff over on there soon, but go ahead and have a gander now, and if you like, you can drop me your email address, and I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with State and Beale. In the meantime, please follow this show wherever you get podcasts for a brand new episode every week. Now, you hear that music? The music on this episode is not... Now, well, I'm thankful to have it, but it ain't Tennessee music. Live in Tennessee and you'll know about music. Know about Tennessee music long enough and you'll understand copyright infringement. So, last week, Garrett Boys were nice enough to let me use some of their music, but this week I got this here. Again, glad to have it. But if you have some Tennessee music you wouldn't mind to let us use on the show, I'd sure be much obliged to you. Send over links to Toby at stateandbeale.com, Toby at stateandbeale.com, and I'll get your stuff on right here. And shoot, I may even send you a Tennessee quarter in the mail. All right, admin done. I'm ready for spring, y'all. And shoot, I'll just say it, I ain't good at winter. All the clothes and slipping around on ice. Christmas is great, but here in Memphis, buds are coming on and temperatures are heading in the right direction, for me anyway, and I'm ready to put my heavy coats and toboggans in the attic. Well, my wife got me this really great Jimmy Buffett hoodie for Christmas this year, and boy, I'll be sad to see that guy go, but... Spring officially begins on March 19th. That's a little more than 3 weeks from now. And I can't really remember what old Punxsutawney Phil said this year, but either way, I say bring it on. But I also remember years where it snowed in like late March or early April even. But either way, we're looking ahead at spring in Tennessee today with a visit to the Memphis Botanic Gardens. A spring feeling is already in the air out there, and they are getting ready. Every year, a beautiful row of cherry trees blossom with pretty pink flowers along the road that leads to the gardens. It's called Cherry Road for a reason, I guess. On March 23rd, the garden will celebrate with a cherry blossom picnic. It'll be focused on plants in the Japanese garden, but that's a real tranquil kind of space. So in other parts of the garden, they'll have food trucks, music, a tea ceremony class, and more. So put that on your Tennessee to-do list for next month. We'll also hear from the garden's director of horticulture on how he's getting the garden ready for spring, and also he'll have some helpful hints for all you home gardeners out there to get your home gardens ready for the spring. Okay, I know I might be jumping the gun on the spring thing, but there's Easter candy at Walgreens and patio furniture out at Home Depot already. So I say, as the kids say, let's go. All right, enough of all that, folks. Let's get on with the show. Now, if you are a fan of spring like I am, the only place to go to get a front row seat to that here in Memphis, Tennessee is the Memphis Botanic Gardens out here on Cherry Road, East Memphis. If you're in Memphis, you know what I'm talking about. And I have come out here today to kind of get an idea of what's happening in spring at the gardens. And I've got with me Jenna Harris. She's the Director of Education and Events here at the garden. And also Daniel Gross. He's the Director of Horticulture here at the gardens. Going to be talking with both of them about what they do springtime at the gardens and what's next here. So thank y'all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
If you're in Memphis, the cherry blossoms here at the garden is kind of the first big sign that it's actually spring. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
That's
I
the
mean,
first,
Daniel has a
that's the
few
first
things.
big one, like the first big event that we have where it's warm and like that. There's stuff going on now already, though.
Yeah. But if you're driving out here to Target and you pass Cherry Road and you see them all blown up, you're like, okay, it's here without a
Absolutely.
doubt.
Absolutely.
Right. Again, just walking through the parking lot, you can see the flowers in the beds out there. Just walking into this place feels fresh like spring, and I hate winter almost with a passion. So to see that stuff has been really great for me. So y'all are already looking forward to spring and cherry blossoms with an upcoming event next month. I know it's a little early to talk about it. My book, Never Too Early to Talk About Spring. But can you talk a little bit about the Cherry Blossom Picnic?
Yeah, so we do like to kick off our spring season with the cherry blossom picnic. You know, right now, if you go through our magnolia grove, you actually get to see some of the Asian magnolias that are blooming and all that. But like Daniel said, that's kind of the big opening spring season for us is when the cherry trees all start blooming down Cherry Road. We don't get to predict exactly when they're going to happen, but after years and years of watching these things, we've gauged it pretty well. And so March 23rd will be our cherry blossom picnic. And we've done this event for about the last 5 years. And it's a great collaboration between the garden, the University of Memphis, their Japan program, um, Stax Academy. They have 901 taiko. So we'll have taiko drummers out here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it's great. We have food trucks so you can come out, picnic, and just enjoy a day in the garden and hopefully the warm spring air. Sometimes it's a little chilly in the morning. It warms up in the afternoon and get to taste some of the tastes of Japan. We have a newly renovated entrance to our Japanese garden. So we'll get to see, all of that kind of first look really at that space, right, Daniel?
Yeah, the structure itself is done. It's really cool. The gentleman that we hired to design it for us, his name is Dane Forlines, and he did a lot of studying of traditional Japanese architecture to come up with something that was authentic. That looks really great. So it is there, and we are working on curating the plants and getting those in before Cherry Blossom Festival. So it's pretty exciting. It's going to be cool.
And for anybody to set the table for anybody that's not maybe been to Memphis, maybe hasn't been to the Botanic Garden, and if you haven't, you absolutely need to. It's 96 acres. There are 30 different gardens in 7 different sections, right? And all of this is going to happen in the Japanese garden, right?
Well, we cover a lot of the garden. It really starts right when you come out onto the main patio area, and it will take you through the Great Lawn. That's where all of the activities and food trucks will be to kind of preserve the Japanese garden for what it is. So the name of our garden is Seijaku-en, which translates to the Garden of Tranquility.
Okay.
And so we try to kind of give that respect by not doing a lot of the big and active and loud things in there. We'll have tours of the Japanese garden within the space, and we'll do some of the quieter activities. We have some of the Japanese students doing origami folding and writing, as well as some storytelling and a tea ceremony in our moon gazing pavilion. But again, the food trucks and the music and the taiko drums, things like that, we try to keep those just outside of the Japanese garden so you can see it from where we are, but we're kind of keeping respect for the space by keeping it a little bit quieter in there.
It's a peaceful place.
It is a gorgeous, peaceful place.
For the festivals here, this is from the garden's website. You can enjoy family-friendly activities, including creating kimono dolls and koi wind socks and learning Shodo name writing and origami. The event also features performances by 901 Taiko. That's the drum group that Jenna was talking about. And this is, I have a question here, family-friendly tea ceremony demonstrations. Are there non-family friendly tea demonstrations?
I mean, I guess depending on what you put in the cup.
Oh,
But
that's what I said.
but no, so the tea ceremony is it is actually a really complex ceremony if you did a traditional tea ceremony. And there's a lot of steps and it is a very long process. And a lot of the pieces of that can get lost on kids.
Okay.
So we do it in a way that we are showing the basics of a tea ceremony where kids get to actually be a part of it and participate in it and learn some of the really basic pieces of a tea ceremony. But if we were to call it a traditional tea ceremony,
Sure.
that takes it to a whole nother level. There's tea masters. We
Right.
actually had a tea master that was with us for a few years, I guess about 10 or 12 years ago. She was here and she did tea ceremony classes. And these classes would be 2 to 3 hour classes.
Wow.
And to do a full tea ceremony, it's a really long process. So we kind of touch on and give an idea of a tea ceremony where if you want to take that information and then you learn a little bit more
Right.
about it and explore it, you can, but it's enjoyable for kids and adults as well to kind of see all of that.
And there's going to be guided tours of the garden, as you
Mhm.
said. For food, all the food trucks, there's a ton. Mr. Costa's Japanese and Mexican food, which I looked that up on Facebook. I had to
It's
know.
an interesting combination,
cool.
but they do it really, really well.
Okay.
They've been one of our trucks that we've had here at the garden for probably the past 5 or 6 years, and they're really fantastic at what they do.
I've got to find out for myself now. There's also going to be rice burner, soy number 9, which is a favorite of mine. Just wraps, pak chaw's egg rolls, had them before, they're great. Big River dogs and sekasui will be on site for a picnic lunch. A signature cocktail and other spring spirits will be available from the Cash Bar also. You hinted at it a minute ago, and Daniel, maybe you can jump in here too. I read about the improvements that y'all have done to that part of the garden over the last year. The moon gazing pavilion, entrance areas, things like that. What's happened out there? Why did y'all want to change them, and what can people expect?
Yeah, there's several things. Another thing is our spillway bridge, which often gets overlooked. It's the bridge, it's the overflow of that lake that kind of goes back in to the city water. I got these 2 huge rocks there. It was falling apart. You couldn't even the car. People were struggling, and we got these like 6 and 7 ton rocks that we put in place there now, and it was a big ordeal. We had cranes out here
Oh, wow.
set in place, but it's kind of a part that people don't usually go to because it's the furthermost like southern point. That's a really cool space, and because the water is always gently flowing there, it's very tranquil. It's in the spirit of the garden, so we'd love for people to venture out that way. It's kind of on the end towards the moon gazing pavilion.
Okay.
But really, it comes back to this is one of I think our feature gardens,
Right.
One of our best ones. These things they hadn't been updated in a while, and so we refreshed them, and we want to keep investing in the space.
It's gorgeous. Last time I saw it, last time I was here was for Wonders, and I think everybody in Memphis is a Christmas time, holiday time must do is the Wonders out here. I was talking to my buddy Patrick, who helps put the lights up, takes the lights down. They start putting Wonders up in September, and he just said they just finally got everything down today, which is end of February. So that's how
Got
how
the
big
last
you
light
guys
down
go
today.
here at the
Yeah.
gardens. It's kind of
We're
amazing.
already planning for next year.
To restate, Memphis Botanic Garden is 96 acres, huge place here in East Memphis. It's home to 30 specialty gardens in 7 different zones. I tried to look up before I got here, still couldn't figure it out a little bit, but why does Memphis have a Japanese garden?
As a botanic garden, we want to feature plants from around the world and showcase them to people so they can learn uh, about all those different things. So, like, we have this tropical glass house that's opening up. We have the Japanese garden. We have gardens dedicated to native plants and stuff that's specific to the Mississippi Delta. But when you come here, we want you to be able to learn about everything and see everything and increase your knowledge and appreciation of plants. So that's why.
Daniel, while I have you here, I know there's a lot of home gardeners all over the state who would love to be sitting here with you right now. You're a Tennessee plant expert, to ask very specific questions about things going on in their home gardens, preparations for spring. What are you doing right now? How has winter affected Tennessee gardens this year? And what should folks be doing now to get ready for spring?
This winter wasn't so bad. We had
Right.
one period of snow, but it happened late in the year. So what happens usually plants, they have time to harden off. So over December, as it slowly cools down and gets cold, they kind of toughen up. So we didn't have any big damage this year like
Okay.
we've had in years past. And a part of it is we learned like what plants cannot handle that 0 degrees, and we took them out and we didn't put them back in
Oh, wow.
because that does happen sometimes. So we kind of gave up on that and put in things that are, more acclimated to the South. And in the South, we just got bumped into zone 8A, which is a higher zone. We used to be 7B, which means we want plants that are a little more acclimated to heat and not quite able to handle the cold, or they can't handle as much cold as they used to. So, um,
Wow.
the plants aren't necessarily informed that they changed our zone, but we're shifting. As far as what we're doing, we are really busy. It's still wintertime. It seems calm, but we're really active and busy here. One of the big things we're doing is seed starting for our urban home garden and for our herb garden and plants for our plant sale. We're starting a lot of things from seed. Now, granted, we have heated greenhouses
Mhm.
with heat mats in them, so we can kind of get a jump start on those things. The other thing is just getting on top of weeds and mulching and making it so that we don't have a lot of work to do later in the year. So if you're a home gardener, if you haven't put down pre-emergent and you haven't put down mulch and you want to get ahead of the weeds, so that's not what you spend all your time doing, an ounce of prevention right now is the time to do that.
So take heed, home gardeners. Listen to Daniel. He knows what he's talking about. That was everything that I had today for y'all, the event and on the garden side. Anything we left out? Anything y'all want to add?
No, I mean, come on out and preview us before the cherry blossom picnic. All the daffodils are blooming now,
Yeah.
so it's already starting to look like spring out there a little bit. And we've had some great sunny days recently, so
Well,
we're
between
ready for the crowds.
and I'm ready for spring. So between all that and me, I'm crossing my fingers over here. Spring will come soon enough. But can't thank y'all enough so much for joining me here today on the show. Y'all come on out to the Cherry Blossom Picnic on the 23rd. If you're from out of town, make it a point to come and check this out. You won't be sorry that you did. All right. Thank y'all so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for listening to this, the second episode of State and Beale. Big thanks to Jenna and Daniel and everyone at Memphis Botanic Gardens who make that such an amazing part of this great state. Also, big thanks to Olivia Wall at the Gardens who made this episode happen. Thank you so much. Big luck to Memphis Botanic Gardens and the Cherry Blossom Picnic. And now that's again next month, March 23rd. Y'all really should check it out. It's beautiful. Y'all come and see us. That'll do it for this episode. Thanks again. We'll see y'all back here in Tennessee next week for more State and Beale.